Alright folks, time for a good old rant video, and in this little squirt of nonsense, we're talking aesthetics. You didn't know I was into aesthetics, did you? On the side, I do pedicures, I do manicures, I sell cures for the common cold out of a crate in my trunk, dude. And in that spirit, we're going to talk around the ongoing destruction of Magic's core identity, or so some would have you believe in the ever-enlightened discourse on the internet. This is one of those videos where I talk over art for 5 minutes. And this is where I drop my steaming hot take loafs for all you bros out there. Listen fellas, we all need to realize that things evolve, things change. You know, cockroaches, Magic the Gathering, stuff like that. I remember when Street Fighter went to 3D sprites, and it wasn't hand-drawn anymore, it evolved. And there was a segment of purists who bemoaned this. You know, they called it cheesy looking, and in general just kind of gnashed their teeth and got upset. I played all the way back when Street Fighter 2 hit the arcades. I actually got beat up one time because somebody got tilted when I crushed their Chun-Li lightning leg spam, dude. I wasn't a pro or anything, but I did some local tournaments and I kept up with it. And listen man, I was a huge fan of the hand-drawn sprites. Especially loved Darkstalker, especially Cammy if you know what I'm saying, dude. But tried to judge Street Fighter 4 on its own merits. After playing it, I loved it. Played online, I made friends with bros around the world on my Xbox 360 and I got my butt kicked. If anything, the higher execution requirements on that game killed me more than the aesthetic. So what is an aesthetic as we're talking about it now? We're using it as a noun, a particular theory or conception of beauty or art, a particular taste for or approach to what is pleasing to the senses, and especially to the eye. Magic has always had a look to it, and the colors especially were very different in appearance around their frames. I used to love the look of the blue and red old school cards in particular. Now take a look at the old Ristic study from Prophecy, largely regarded as a set filled with crap, but this is how the frames used to look, you know, I'm just using this as a frame reference. Note the distinctive aquatic marbling, very fluid in appearance and very pleasing to the eye. Contrast this with the modern blue frames. You know, the frame itself is a little smaller, it's not quite as distinctive. To my eyes at least, it's less pleasing than the old frame, but that's just my preference. Now the old school red cards had this cracked stone appearance, even having cracks in the frame itself. Look at this classic Goblin Welder, beautiful card man. The modern frame is much brighter, but lacks that mountainous feel, seems a little more generic. I like it less, but again, that's my preference. It makes it a little easier to read maybe for the newer folks, I don't know. I see a lot of hype about old frame cards, retro frames, but if people like them so much, just get the old version, dude. I know not every card has that option, but it's neat when they do. Now along comes Fallout and Universes Beyond. I see a lot of people online just hating on this set. They say that the identity of Magic is watered down and these don't look like Magic cards. Well honestly, the new frames didn't look like Magic cards to me when I got into it after a few years off. The newer cards look a little cheap to me, you know, as compared to the old school ones. But I guess I'm old enough now that everything just rolls back in on itself. I don't make Magic the Gathering, you know, I don't design it. I don't live it and it doesn't pay for my 200 grams of protein per day, brother. In all honesty, it is someone else's game. I just walk around in it for a couple hours whenever I get the chance. I love that there's a community of people out there who want to play and enjoy it like I do. One thing that drives people crazy is white bordered cards in my decks in particular. Some of my enlightened tutors have white border. I have a white border demonic tutor. Some of my friends just go, I slot some lands in white border and it makes people crazy. I just don't get it. You know, all that said, the identity of Magic is being diluted, but only for those who had a preformed identity of what it should be in their mind. For the rest of us, Magic just becomes what it is. Are you excited for the Fallout set? You know, were you excited for Doctor Who? Did you skip 40K? Did you like Lord of the Rings? You know, let me know in the comments below. And while you're there, like and subscribe, brother. That's the only way this channel grows. Now, I also want you to remember there have been some pretty hardcore science fiction themes in Magic going all the way back to 2000. Remember this guy, you know, Urza made it all the way back then. There are flying ships, there are, you know, all kinds of science fiction tropes in there, man. Now, don't get me wrong, I do have a problem when the Universes Beyond sets come out half-baked or feel unfinished or untested or are full of crappy cards nobody wants. That's when the machine breaks down for me. The Warhammer 40k decks didn't seem that way, brother. They were really good, mechanically interesting, and super flavorful. It seemed like the people who made them were really into 40k. I put quite a few of those cards into my commander decks. But what happens when a Magic core set comes out half-baked, unfinished, or untested? I can assure you I would have the same problem. That's no fun. I mean, at that point, it's just a no-buy and I move on with my life. You know, I still have 10,000 other cards in my collection I could play with. The Doctor Who sets did not appeal to me at all. Not sure why, I just saw nothing that interested me. but it did seem like the set was designed by passionate people who had a pretty good understanding of the underlying universe, and that's what attracts me to buy sets more than anything. The All Will Be One and March of the Machine sets both had tons of stuff I was interested in, and I ended up expending a little more of my discretionary budget on those sets. I do see what people are saying about Magic losing some of its core identity though. I just choose to adjust to what it is, because the actual game is what attracted me in the first place. I love the art, especially love making fun of the art, but playing it and exploring the game system was the main event for this little pedicurist. And at the end of the day, remember, no one is doing anything to Magic specifically to get your goat. They're not thinking about you. They're not trying to make you mad or ruin your day. It's all about making money, keeping their corporate overlords and new Lamborghinis and teeny guineas preferably. But underlying that culture of corporate greed, I like to think there is a core of passionate people who are able to design good game pieces to add to the massive playground we already play in. That's the best anyone can do with a corporate yoke around their neck. Hopefully they enjoy making stuff for us to play with, and if they do, I'm sure the Universes Beyond sets will do fine, even if they aren't for all of us. I do kind of wish it was just the old frames with the old cards all kind of in a set with a coherent canon, but that's just not what it is. And having it thus means the death of the game. If it was just all the old stuff, the game would die as the old folks died. Unfortunately. Things need to evolve in order to survive. That's why I have these gills, brother. With global warming melting the ice caps, we're all going to be dolphins soon anyway. Snicky G from Better Commander, signing off.